All right, y'all. Welcome back to No Cap Just Fax. Today we got a special guest joining us, someone who's been breaking down the psychology behind politics and human behavior in a way that actually makes sense. You probably seen his clips floating around, deep dives on why people think, act, and argue the way they do. We're talking about Anthony Rispo, co-host of the Discourse Lab. Today we're getting into how our minds shape our opinions, how social media messes with perception, and how we can start thinking for ourselves again. No bias, no filter, just facts. Let's get into it. So Anthony, before we even get into it today, and all that heavy politics side, I want to start with, why do people think the way they do? Because it feels like everyone's quick to pick a side, left, right, whatever. Yeah. But no one's actually asking why they believe what they believe. From your background in psychology and social cognition, what's really going on there? Why do so many of us defend opinions like they're part of their identity instead of ideas that they can evolve?
Yeah. So like, people identify with their beliefs, their political side, as if it's kind of like a religion or like a tradition that they...
Right.
So yeah. Rather than just being able to take each view at face value to some degree. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's actually... So there's a few components. Like, it's not as easy as saying that well, okay, let me just say, there's not one easy answer. Mm-hmm. But I think a simple answer just to get going is temperament. And again, just to remind people listening that this is not a one-to-one, like it's not, oh, you're born liberal or you're born conservative. Right. But we do like, our biology we do have predispositions, and some of us are more sensitive to certain things, others are less sensitive to other things, like maybe, little kids who are more temperamentally disorganized or anxious. Right. Versus ones who are more adventurous. Like, you start to see them grow into, the friend group that's more open and adventurous and sort of like out there. And then you have others who are more to themselves, introverted. And so you have temperament and personality structure that evolves with a person over time. And some of it interacts with like how you're raised, but that's not necessarily always the case. Like, you can be very introverted but come from a very like extroverted family. Definitely. So what does this have to do with politics? Well, people who are higher in openness, let me actually rewind and say there's something called the Factor 5 analysis in psychology and personality psychology, and it's a way that psychologists measure personality, and it's not like the Myers-Briggs, and it's not like other tests. It's actually been studied for many, many, many years statistically and in research. And so there's 5 traits there. It's like, the acronym is OCEAN. It's openness, conscientiousness, openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Liberals, people more on the left, tend to be more openness to experience. Right. And people on the political right tend to be more conscientious, like more task oriented, more traditionally based.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Traditionally based.
Yeah. So when we kind of this kind of develops in childhood based on our own biology, and then we inherit it to some degree from our parents and from our culture, but it's a mix of things. So right. I guess, like, if you go away from childhood a bit, because it's complicated, and just go into like when you develop into an adult and like you start to get comfortable with your friend group and stuff, if you're more, adventurous and open, and you get along with different types of people, you start to, think about the world without borders and parameters, and so you might be on the left.
Right.
If you're more into like stock trading, you're more into like saving money and like starting a business. You're probably going to be more conservative. I mean, like, it's not like a definite route, but right. I mean,
and it sucks also, especially in the business world, that they look at you like that, because all you're doing is looking out for the best for yourself, your business, your family, and the people that work for you. So it's like, damn, I'm just looking out for the best of my people that work for me, my family, and now you guys labeling me as a Republican only because my ideas align with Donald Trump's or
Yeah.
you know the left side. I mean
Or
the right side.
right.
And so
Well,
it's
yeah,
like-
and then actually like this has also been studied. Like conservatives are more focused on an inner circle. Like it's the inner circle is your, your family, your community, and then it goes further out, like the state, the country, and then
Right.
liberals. I guess people hate using the word liberal because it's confused with traditional liberalism, which is more conservative. It's really fucking confusing.
it is.
But just for the sake of discussion, like liberals versus conservatives, the liberals tend to be more outside that circle. They don't see the,
They're more
inner-
inclusive.
Yeah,
For sure.
they don't have, focusing on your family, on your inner circle, on yourself, and having like a boundary and saying, okay, I don't want to go outside my boundaries because I'm focused on like raising my kids, making money, saving money, helping my community. I'm not focused on like expanding that maternalistic temperament outside that circle.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I lean more conservative, basically, and I think it's mainly because I was raised in a family that were outgoing, but I was more introvert.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? And I kind of went against what everybody in my family went for. You get what I'm saying? I was like always the black sheep, or you get what I'm saying? But yeah, I was like the first person to like actually support Trump, and that's why I was like, I agree. It's basically how you were brought up. It's your family also, but that also changes because your family could be brought up liberal, but you're like, this is not making sense. You get what I'm saying? And you're just like the odd one out. So I mean, it does play a part, but also what you say, it turns out different. Once you get older, you start realizing sometimes you don't even align with your own family
That's a fact.
beliefs. Like, but yeah, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Like Vic said, he grew up like that. I grew up more, like everyone did in New York City.
Definitely.
On the Democrat side. Everyone
Same.
always rooting for the Democrats, from Bill Clinton to, so I kind of got lost because they lost me because of the whole Bernie Sanders movement. I was a big Bernie Sanders fan.
Yeah.
I went to his rally. I donated to him, but the way they did him dirty, the way they cheated, and to me that was just the last straw. And I know I'm not the only one that wasn't Bernie. That I still like Bernie, but I feel like they're just using him now. But the way they did him dirty, I just feel like there's no way I can go back to the Democratic Party knowing that the people that still that were in charge are still in charge.
Yeah.
So it's like nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. You this movement that Mom Domney did is taken. It's actually from Bernie when he started that movement. So it's like.
But like in a more radical
More
side.
radical.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I understand about healthcare, of course, 100%. It'll be cool if everyone had free healthcare. Sure, tax me a little more. I'll take that. I know that when I go to the hospital, I don't have to pay anything. When I pick up prescriptions, I'll probably have a little low copay, but it's it helps me as well. But I don't understand the way they're trying to push the healthcare system to people.
Did you see what Trump just said? Actually, just came out. He said, "Get rid of Obamacare subsidies and just give the money to the people."
I mean, listen, it's
I wonder how they're going to deal with that one. That's
That's a
like-
wild take, but I'll take it.
You know what I mean?
I'll
Like
take
it's like complete. Their heads are gonna spin
Yeah.
on the,
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
for sure.
Democrat side because it's
but
like
everybody knows they're trying to pocket that money.
Yeah.
Of
They
course,
just
but that's
wanna
the thing.
pocket
And now
that
that
money.
it's frozen, now that it's in a bad situation, everything's stopped in time, and the Democrats are freaking out. And this is it. Let me just go back to the Bernie thing first. I was a Bernie supporter too in 2016, and also before in 2021.
Okay.
And so 2016, I was really in it, and then 2021, I canvassed for him. I went to New Hampshire. And I was in a bus with a bunch of Bernie bros, and I
Bernie bros.
we get
I like
it's
that.
so weird. We get to the destination, and it was so. This is just like a side note, and then we'll go into the healthcare because this is an interesting thing, the healthcare thing. But we get to this like spot where the bus that took us up there, parked, and it was restaurants and stuff. And then we go inside, a bunch of us, into this restaurant, and we see, like, you remember Pete Buttigieg was going, and then Joe Biden was also on the ticket. You see people like dressed in like button-down shirts, Joe Biden people dressed in like a suit and tie, or like or just like LL Bean things, right. And then the Bernie people were like all disheveled and like long hair, and
I'm crying.
So I was like, all right, yeah, this is. But anyway, I also got really disillusioned and upset in 2021 when they like basically said, well, actually in 2016 when they forced Hillary down our throat.
Yes, definitely.
And then 2021 again when they did it with Biden, I was like, this is not gonna end up good. But you know what? Have it. And it didn't. And then and then
it actually got worse.
It got worse. And then he was a puppet. And then we had Kamala Harris.
They forced they didn't even have a primary.
They keep blaming the Republican. And then I started thinking like, holy shit, maybe I'm not on this side. Maybe because these guys are eating themselves alive.
They're not giving anyone a chance. You see how the Republicans gave Donald Trump a chance. Like, we're going to give this guy a chance. And he kind of cleaned house with all the warmongering Republicans that just want to, feed the war machine.
Exactly.
So it's like.
So credit to like I mean, like, honestly, give credit to Mamdani and that crew because like they actually persevered.
No, definitely. That I do give credit to him about that because.
I do want to interject. Because it's no longer the Democrat Party.
Oh yeah,
it's literally the DSA right now.
Yeah,
like, that's literally what's happening right now. The old school Democrat thing is out the window right now. Like, Nancy Pelosi just retired. This is groundbreaking news right now.
Chuck Schumer's freaking out because he's
losing his power too.
You ever see him? He doesn't actually freak out. He says, "This is awful. We have to." Never
And
mind.
Hakeem Jeffries, nobody respects him from the Republican or Democratic side. So it's like,
now that Nancy Pelosi, his mama, in a sense, is pretty much out. I can't. He's probably about to be the same way. He's probably out the door real soon.
Yeah.
AOC might take his place, which is not something I'm looking forward to, but it is what it is. But
you give him credit too. You were saying like about.
I mean,
Mamdani?
I give credit to Mamdani for winning, and for bringing up ideas that can help the city, but sometimes you have to structuralize it well.
Right.
Like the way he's saying free buses, to me that don't make any sense.
Right.
Like, you've been in the city, there's crosstown buses. I feel like crosstown buses should be free because once you take a crosstown bus to the other side, you're taking the train. So that's what most of the time people are doing. So I feel like free buses, it can be a thing, but you have to structurize it. Like, you have to make sure it has its structure where it's not gonna, mess up the system itself. Period.
For sure. Yeah. I do also want to add on to that. I agree, and I do like Mamdani for the fact that he did motivate the younger people to go out there and vote. So that's something, you gotta give him a little credit.
I give him credit, but he's just selling dreams. That's what he is.
I agree, but still got people in college voting, younger people. You get what I'm saying? The numbers were crazy.
It's incredible, yeah.
It was over 2 million people that voted in New York.
Yeah, and half of them weren't even living here for 10 plus years.
I agree. They weren't here not even 5+ years. So
like the people that were living here more voted for Cuomo and
Sliwa.
Yeah, so it's like
And the thing is, a lot of these people don't fully understand the way the country is oriented, situated, and actually Mamdani himself, it's not even clear to me that he actually even likes this country.
We totally agree.
Yeah, and that through line is part of academia. Like, he comes from that elitist crowd that is. I was just at Columbia for 3 years, and it's like, even before I went to Columbia, I had known about this, but the academic world since the 50s, 30s, really the 50s, like, you had communists and socialists and democratic socialists come in from fascist Germany and settling here, and finding ways to make sure that we didn't become fascist. And they came up with this idea that conservatism actually is a sort of byproduct of fascism, or like they're one and the same. And it's a very twisted thing that happened back in the 50s and 60s, but they situated their logic in a way that was like, okay, you know, anybody who's for tradition and for structure is going to inevitably become fascist, and we have to like tear that down. We can't let that happen. And that's a very simplified way of explaining like how these scholars wrote about their experience in Germany and like feared that it would happen here. But you know, of course, like you had in the 50s McCarthy, who was like bashing communists, and so you did have infighting in America,
Right.
communists and fascists. But the thing is, like, for many years in academia, there's always been this idea of the oppressed and the oppressor. Like, in your position in society, like if you're a minority, if you're gay, if you're this, if you're that, then you actually inherit oppression in your like makeup. And so they basically think that America manufactures this oppression, and so they think that capitalism is like responsible for it. It's very twisted, but they tied it in knots so that it's like so confusing to disentangle. But
Right.
what it boils down to is that the system is out to get you, and people feel that way when they feel crushed by like debt and all this other shit, you know.
Definitely.
But then they get they're given solutions that never worked anywhere.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot more to it, but that's kind of like the gist of it, you know.
Do you think people actually want truth or validation?
Validation.
That's for sure.
Yeah, because we want our biases confirmed. Like people who are very strongly convicted to their cause, it's almost religious to them. A lot of people live in the middle, but the loud fringes, like they're very convicted to their moral causes and their position politically, because it's basically part of how they identify as a person, just generally as they see themselves in the world. So if you push against a point of view that they believe in and care about, it's like you're almost pushing against them as a person.
Yeah, they feel bullied or
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you said, they want to feel the validation that I know this, I know I was right, and things like that.
Yeah.
So, do you think our political beliefs come from more emotion or logic, and how can we tell which one is really in charge?
I like that one.
Oh God, that's a good one. I would say that it's a mix, but I would say emotion is definitely the recipe that binds it.
Okay.
Right.
Because anything that's high in emotion the brain encodes information more steadily and more firmly when there's emotion involved, when there's an experience that hits home, which is why people that, you know, leave sort of destitute places or have had abuse, like they're more aware of when it can happen next. But that's not the same as like, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I don't want people to think that that's the same as a trauma response.
Yeah,
because it could be, but it's just people also could have something called pattern recognition, which is like you've experienced something for years, you were in a poor country, you were abused or whatever, and you want to make sure it doesn't happen again, and that's normal.
Right.
But some people become married to that idea when they even haven't experienced it,
or self-diagnose themselves.
I just interviewed an amazing therapist by the name of Joe Nucci. Everyone should get his book, Psychobabble.
Okay.
Joe, I just plugged
Okay.
you. And he talks about this, about, you know, self-diagnosis and like, is it okay? When is it not okay? And it's generally it's a problem because people have so much access on social media to political stuff, and you know, their emotions get riled up, and they also have access to, like, you know, people talking about mental disorders, and it's all confirmation bias. It's like I see somebody saying something that I feel is true, so therefore it's true.
Right.
And then it just like solidifies their biases, and then it's much harder for them to like break those down and think about them, like you were saying before, and see them objectively. But politics definitely is emotional, but the ancients, like the ancient Greeks, like they cared about having dialogue in the square, like they wanted to debate.
Definitely.
And so, you know, there's also a logic to it. You have to be able to maintain civilization, a society, a government, and you need to be logical. But emotion definitely paves the way. And the thing that's, like I was saying before, sometimes people get fused to a cause because they feel that it's true for themselves. So for instance, an example is like, you had a lot of elitist students on my campus at Columbia who were like free Palestine, but know fucking nothing about Palestine.
Yeah, definitely.
Know nothing about these are, and then you also have elitist types who talk about black and brown people, about gays, about this, about women, who have no idea what it's like to grow up in these situations, who have no, they just
100%.
They just know how to pull it at your heartstrings.
That's it.
That's what it is.
And so hence the emotion part.
Right.
And then they get people, and especially white liberals, and I'm not just, I mean, I'm Italian, I'm considered white, but like there's a specific type of person that is like so neurotic and they want to save face. And it doesn't always come from a place of genuine inquisition and like, let me see like what's actually going on here. And they know that their social cost is so high because if they challenge something, then they're the white person that challenged something, and then they're awful and bigoted and mean.
Right.
And then so it's like you have all these social costs and benefits at play that keep you from actually accessing the truth. So you can't even break through the rigidity of someone's ideology, because if you do that, then you're considered a bigot. You're like I was saying before,
or racist.
Right?
Yeah, literally.
So nobody ever ends up getting anything done.
Right.
So.
What's one psychological bias you think people fall into most when discussing politics online?
Oh, that's a good one. They're all good questions.
Thank you.
Yeah. I would say, well, I mean, I think the most common one is confirmation bias, because like we already come into something with an idea. You know, let's say healthcare is a right for all.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my map of what I think should be. It's a moral conviction.
Like your general outline.
Yeah. It's not just like something that I think would be cool. It's like actually part of me. I mean, I think that healthcare this is not me saying what I think. I'm just saying as an example, somebody thinks that. I used to think that. But anyway, you go into it thinking that and believing it, and then you see your favorite politician, or you see like maybe Scandinavia, a country that's totally homogenous and like, you know, not maybe totally, but like mostly one ethnic.
Ethnicity,
It's like
yeah.
and smaller population. You're like, see, it works, and
Yeah,
it's like
there's
confirmation bias, and it's like you don't think about all the other
all the
stuff
different
that's
people.
Like,
Like there's just one set of people in there that just have that same mindset. So it's
Right.
like it's gonna work
Right.
if you have the same mindset.
I'll be honest. That's why. Not that I laugh, but I do chuckle at the fact that people say that socialism could work in certain parts of this country. I'm like, bro, just because, you know, these Scandinavian countries are thriving, that doesn't mean that the same thing would apply out here.
Yeah.
We do in New York City. It's a lot of people that are just lazy and just getting over the government and, you know, all the benefits and stuff like that. So it's like in these countries, you're supposed to work. These people are working, like, and you know, the only time you really get off is, you know, vacations, or when you really get injured, you get paid. You get what I'm saying? You get taken care of, but they're actually checking up on you.
Yeah.
To see if you're really injured. You got to go to these hospitals and make sure. You get what I'm saying? You know, your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted.
And that's like so opposite of what our country is
Exactly.
is a constitutional republic, and it is a free society built on autonomy, on self-determination, and we're not those countries.
Right.
You know, and that's the people on the political left. They don't. And I just want listeners to understand, I was hardcore on the left. Okay, just for reference, I actually found a video of myself from 2016 crying with like blue tips in my hair, like I had all of the left, I had all the SJW stuff going on. Like I had a weird list because I had like these like retainers in, and I had this peace mug saying that I was dehumanizing Trump, and then I took a sip and it said peace on it. And I didn't even know. It's like the cognitive dissonance, like that. Like that's another one, cognitive dissonance, not being able to deal with two different things at once, two different thoughts, your belief and then a contradicting belief, creates ambiguity. It actually elevates anxiety levels. And so in order to diminish that anxiety, you go to defenses, you go to biases, dehumanizing people, playing sides. You completely get rid of nuance and asking questions. And so, but that's what people do generally, is like when they get anxious, if you're more, if you have less of an ability to deal with anxiety and ambiguity and uncertainty,
Right.
then you're more likely to act in a way that's hostile to the other person. It's hostile attribution bias is another bias where a lot of people on the left do this actually, because they moralize these policies to the point of like actually attaching them to like what you're like as a person. Like if you don't believe that healthcare is a right, not considering that the idea of a right is very distinct in America, it doesn't mean that you don't believe people should have healthcare and that we should get there. But
Right.
a right is very different in our model. But the way they internalize it is that you must be a terrible person. And so that's called hostile attribution bias. Is like, I believe this, you don't believe it. It must mean that you are a reckless, horrible, deviant scumbag
Right.
who doesn't want anybody but yourself to get help. And that's another thing. But what I was saying, and I'll shut up in a second, is that I was watching a video of myself like go on and on and on about Trump, and that's an example of someone, looking back at myself, who is having a very hard time with ambiguity and anxiety in my own life. It's not just about politics. For people who act out like we have seen over the past decade or so, these people probably deal with more than just a political distress. They have probably more of a global, what it's called, like a general anxiety problem.
Right.
And, so it's not just based on the politics. It's like part of them. Like they don't know how to deal with emotion sometimes. So
I feel like Mamdani took advantage of New York City, especially the voters that don't think for themselves.
Yeah.
As long as you're giving a key point and you're just dangling a key to them and telling them like, this is what I'm gonna get you guys. This is what, and everyone's gonna flock to him. Everyone's gonna vote for him. No, not everyone's gonna do their research and understand like, hey, where's this coming from? Is he coming from a good point of view, and has this happened before over here? And there's been studies that it has happened over here before and it has not worked, and his solution is tax, and when it trickles down to the middle class, then it's going to be a problem.
Right.
Well, he just asked his supporters for money. He's like, just kidding, guys.
Right.
So
after he was like talking about what did he say, something about in that clip, oh gosh, you guys actually just released a video about
the one that he was in the roof, or the one that the one he won, and he
basically he was saying that tired of being cheated by, he didn't say this, but like basically setting it up so it's like tired of being played by politicians.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then he was like, oh, by the way, guys,
Right.
by the way,
it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, really, this is your strategy? And
I died laughing. I was like,
it's
yo,
comical.
this is what
It's
y'all
SNL.
voted for. Like,
basically you want the people that's asking for free stuff to send you money so you can send them free stuff.
And guys, these people that voted, do you see those polls? Like, these are young people, overwhelmingly.
84%.
84%. Yeah, go on.
84% of those people have not been in New York City for over 5 years.
Yeah, they're college educated, which doesn't actually mean you're smart. It just means you're college educated and indoctrinated.
Right.
Sorry, I don't mean to be like so, but it's kind of like coming
you
from
might
that
be
culture.
libertarian just based off of the school that you kind of went to.
Yeah, it's like, and they also was saying that they what was I saying? So yeah, they are. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Economically, so they make what, like 80, 100 something thousand a year ish. They overwhelm that bracket from like 80-ish to 100,000. That middle bracket like overwhelmingly voted for him of that age group. And then you had the lower income people who didn't, and then you had like 300 grand and above who didn't also. But this middle elitist, 100 grand in Manhattan and in Brooklyn is not a lot,
Nope.
but it is okay anywhere else. You're not destitute. Like
Right.
you are not. You are here in the city. It's a hard place to live. I get it. You're young. You want to make it. There's actually a political science term for this called downward mobility. These are young people who have kind of like, a lot of them come from wealthy families, not all of them, but a lot of them, and they have this existential fear that they're not going to be as wealthy or well off as their parents. It's called downward mobility, and there's something real to it. Like the economy kind of stinks for them, though it was weird because in a poll they said they think the New York City economy is okay, like upward, like 60%. But then they were, it was so weird. But they have a fear that they're not going to, make it, and I understand that. But it's just so weird to me because, like, if you move elsewhere, if you move out of the city, you would be okay for the most part. Mm-hmm. So it's just a very odd scenario, and they're calling the shots for everyone else. So
yeah, it's definitely wild.
Wild.
Well, let me see. Why do people align so strongly with a political party even when it goes against their own best interests?
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, that's an interesting line because you know how people abuse that. Like, you're voting against your best. Obama and Michelle and Barack Obama did that to black men.
Yep. For this election.
Yeah. If you don't vote for, you guys don't want to vote for a woman, or that's
right.
It's because
it's moral shaming.
Exactly.
That's
the best way.
It's emasculating. It's moral. It's denigrating. It's dehumanizing. I mean, think about it. Like, you're treating a whole group of people as one thing, and that's what we're trying to get away from. Mm-hmm. And but they double down on it, and they're the ones who double down on it. The people on the egalitarian progressive left. But anyway, why do they but for real, there is a real effect. Like, there are people who do vote like for these policies that will end up hurting them, like these young people who voted for Mamdani because, well, first of all, almost probably none of them will come into fruition. Right. Because Kathy Jokel is basically saying,
I like that one. Kathy Jokel. I like that. I'm using that.
Basically saying that, no, we're not going to. She's so, she is like the very odd aunt that straggles, in the crowd that's like, gotta go at 6:00, and, you don't say bye to her, and she said, where'd she go?
Right.
And it's like she was at the Mamdani event, and she's like clueless as to what they're saying to her, and she was like, and the next day she's like, I didn't hear them say anything about what, it's so
even in her court hearings, she looks out of place, or just not there.
But to answer your question, these policies are not. First of all, my prediction is they're not going to come into fruition, and it's going to disillusion the voters more, right. Double down on their disillusionment. But if they do, they're gonna. They don't understand because they're like I was saying before, they have this moral conviction of harm reduction. People who are on the progressive left, their goal is to reduce harm. How do we do that? Government runs stores. And why? Because that gives people food. Why? Because they're food deserts. That's literally their equation. They don't consider the fact that that groceries make 2% margins.
The accessibility.
Yeah, accessibility, that you have stores in the area where their prices are going to have to, are going to be affected, right. And could end up shutting down. Like, we've seen this before.
Yeah, a lot of mom and pop stores, bodegas.
This is something I told him yesterday. I'm like, hey, so you're basically telling a little old lady to hop on one of the free buses to go miles away, right. To go to the free grocery store to pick up something, and then next thing you know, they don't have the items she has.
Not only that,
it's out.
Not only that, it's going to be a long line.
Yeah, it's going to be a long line.
The DMV, yeah, and then who gets to be on that line? Who do we? I was sitting at a table with some.
Right. That's
yeah, I would. Yeah, exactly. Here's an example of people who vote truly against their best interest, or vote who think they're voting for the underdog, for those who need it, or I won't even get into that because that's what I was, that's what I was questioned about when I said who gets to determine who needs it, and what I'm contexting, what I'm getting at is I sat at a table with a bunch of people. A few weeks ago, we did a pilot episode of this show from a friend of mine who started it. It's called Convivium New York City, and it was Mamdani supporters, etc. And I talked about the government stores, and I said, who gets to decide who gets on that line and gets to shop there, and what about those who need it? And she was like, who are we to determine who needs it?
Are you kidding me?
So a billionaire can go stand in line?
Right.
Somebody who makes, enough money to maybe, I don't know, not buy a filet mignon, but buy some chicken and, they get to. what about people who are truly down and out, like the ones that you care about,
Right.
or apparently care about? So I think it's a lot of it is reinforcement. It's like a belief reinforcement. It's like, I believe in these policies because they reduce harm, and so therefore, I'm convicted to that,
Right.
and I need to make sure it happens because that's my belief system. And they don't look beyond that, because what happens when you have such a strong belief system is rationale is just not something that enters the room.
Definitely.
And when you're met with it, you feel, again, that anxiety, you feel that anger because you're pushing against my belief system.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know if that answers your question about.
No, it does. It does. I would double down on that with what's rent stability
Yeah, stabilized.
apartments.
Yeah.
It's like it's a lottery technically, but people who are rich can get into
The
that.
lottery, yeah,
when
it-
really it should be for the people that really need it.
Yeah, that's
Like,
that's definitely I don't understand that, because sometimes it says you gotta be making at least 100K to this amount. So
nah, to be
you know,
honest,
it's
that's
crazy.
Well, I mean, yeah, true that.
If
But
you're making
Is it
100K and you're a single person, to me, that's all. The only thing it's telling me is you don't know how to manage your money.
That's this voter base, though. That's all.
I've seen
Literally.
I've seen somebody have.
Fact.
I was just watching something last night that they were talking about rent stabilized apartments. Pretty much, it's about majority of the people that do have these apartments, they keep them, and if they're on their way out or moving or whatever, they keep it in their family. They don't want to give it up. You get what I'm saying? Where it should be given to the next person that actually needs it.
Yeah.
You got people that got an apartment, a 5-star apartment, and for very little money, and then they buy a house outside of the city. You get what I'm saying? And now they have this, and then they got out there. So it's like, bro, like you're not being considerate as far as for the people in the city that actually need these kind of apartments to. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
bro, and
Totally.
actually live a comfortable life.
It's not even that, to be honest with. Also, on top of that, it's like there's places where they're giving some migrants like 30K
Yeah.
and things like that, and it's like, we're from New York. We grew up in the projects and things like that. So it's like, when are we gonna get 30K to move out the projects and get a house? When the black family hasn't gotten reparations, when are they gonna get reparations or something like that? 30K can go far for a black family to get out, get a house or open up a business. So it's like,
Right, that's a definite
like
startup
also
right there.
the guy the mayor from Chicago had similarities. They're like, oh, immigrants are like slaves, and it's like, wow, you really gonna give that comparison? You're gonna put them in the same boat?
That's what that you.
But that's what they do. They take it and they run with it.
Yeah, that's it. It's a crazy narrative. The Democrats right now are just running with a narrative that is so clever. They're doing such a. I don't know if they're doing a good job, but I know what they're doing. They're positioning the Republicans as responsible for the shutdown and for people not getting snapped.
You can say they're doing a good job because you got people that are really believing in this stuff. Like,
they're doing a, and real quick, I mean, this is the way they function though. They latch moral, like a moral grievance, or like they make it again, like you're not, children are going to go hungry. You're responsible for the shutdown. What does that mean? That's like a huge implication. Like if the government shuts down, all these things don't happen, and then you see all these effects happening around you in your everyday life. It's a perfect opportunity for them to make it their fault. Meanwhile, the Democrats, all they needed to do was vote yes to a bill that said we're going to keep these things in check that were part of the budget for the year, which healthcare was not part of that. And that's what they want in it. They're like, no, we want healthcare in there. The subsidies that were a subsidy on top of subsidies. So it's like, now this government's shut down. Now you don't get SNAP. And now the new thing is, government, the Republicans are responsible for kids going hungry. Meanwhile, like all you have to do is open the friggin' government,
literally,
and let the cash flow. That's it. But this is what they do, and they Mamdani does it with billionaires. I mean, like that's their thing. They're always after billionaires in a city of billionaires, in a city out of the whole fucking world that's like most consequential when it comes to finance. And you have these billionaires who are like, dude, like, you're not going to get anything done.
Right.
So, you know.
And at the same time, it's like, he changed the language. I don't know if you know. He's like, oh no, it's not going to be free. It's not going to be free.
Yeah.
But your voters are saying free. You know, so it's like, are you selling them the dream now, or you're taking the dream back? It's
you got one person when we was watching yesterday. She was saying, "Yeah, he's gonna give us free food, a Lamborghini." I'm like, "Oh, you guys are out of touch for real."
They want a constant mommy and daddy.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what they. You know, it's sad. That's what they want the government to be. He said what he said. There's nothing government can't do.
No big or small that government can't take.
Who the hell is the king now?
Right.
I was listening. Like, you guys were right on the head in your last year breakdown. Like, but that's what I'm thinking. Like, who is the king now? It's like so inverted. Talk about psychology. This is like such an inversion of reality. They're so dissonant in the way they, meaning they're so much like at odds with the way they think about things. They have to project that, you know, they don't know what to do, these people, so they're projecting out to people who they blame, but they're the ones who are doing it. And I don't know, it's going to be a rough one. It's going to be a rough one.
I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but I just feel like they're logically blind.
Yes.
Like,
no, that's completely right.
Like they like logic
Beautiful.
completely left the room with them.
Yeah.
Like, but that's just me.
Because you don't have to be like a hard right conservative. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Fuck Nick Fuentes, whoever. I don't
Yeah.
Like,
I seen a few of his things. He's wild.
Yeah.
He's really out there.
He contradicts himself a lot.
Yeah, I have no patience for people like that. Like, that's like a wacko right there.
Yeah,
That, and I
sure.
feel like people that speak so fast and they just want to keep jumping, like him, Ben Shapiro. Sometimes, you know, he's too.
So Ben has good logic. He's got a good.
But I just feel like people that speak so fast and don't let you get your point across is like, bro. Like,
one guy I do like is Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh, I actually.
Oh yeah,
do
he's more paced and he's got dry humor too.
Yeah,
I
for
like
sure.
that. I like Ben because Ben actually does have, he thinks constitutionally and logically, but there is a fringe of the right now that's like way in weird land, and I'm not into it.
Yeah, I don't align with like the far right. I mean, I do. I'm middle, leaning right.
Same
type. You get what I'm saying?
That's
But
facts,
because I even pull, you know, the Trump's card. Like, you get what I'm saying? I'm not afraid to, you know, challenge Trump or whoever's doing wrong. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if you're in the left or the right. You get what I'm saying? But a lot of people, they just, if they're left, they're completely left, and they die on that hill.
Yeah, they have no. It's like they have no type of remorse.
Right.
Like, hey, can you can't you feel the same way I'm feeling, or can't you understand where I'm coming from? I mean, like, no, it has to be my side. It has to be my side.
That's a good point. You know, there was a study that was published in 2024. It's called a network model, and that's this fancy way of saying like they get data, and basically when they collect the data and put it through their software, they were able to see like the data points coming together, like in a web. And then what they did was they measured liberals and conservatives' perceptions or attitudes on certain issues like immigration, abortion, gay marriage, all these hot button things.
Are you talking about that horseshoe kind of effect?
No, but you know what? That's related to this. In some way, it's related in the way that extremism comes out of it, but I'll get to that in a second. But that horseshoe effect is a real thing that we're seeing now. But this study, like, so they surveyed the participants and asked, like, you know, what's your political ideology, and then like, how do you feel about these issues? And so they collected the data, and they saw that people on the left, it clumped together very closely. All the points, the dots were the people, and the clump is so tight. And then people on the right, the web was more expanded. So that meant, what that means for listeners is that, and people watching, is that there's more diversity of thought in this particular analysis. So there's more difference between one person and another on the right versus people on the left. They're more rigid in like how they think about the issues. So it seems to be, and then you look at the exit polls and you see that over a quarter of the electorate, the exit polls from New York City for Mamdani, who or just the mayoral race, not just Mamdani, but over a quarter of the electorate, the total voting population, of those who voted for Mamdani, 84% identified as very liberal.
Right.
That's a lot of friggin' people. And the same thing didn't happen for people on the, who would identify as very conservative. It was more spread out.
Right.
So this study showing a clumped together, left, very tight left, actually shows itself in a real world effect in the election where people on the left identify as really on the left.
Right.
So this is where research can be very handy, predicting like, oh God, we're going to see this in an election.
Mm-hmm.
So in that clumped together model, you find more rigidity, like you find more closed-mindedness, and like you were saying, like people are less likely to be open to different perspectives. Like we keep coming back to this theme where any dissenting view or any view that's like different from theirs is going to be experienced as kind of a little bit of a threat.
Right.
Like I'm gay and
Yeah.
I actually don't care if I have gay marriage. If I have civil union, like if I'm able to be with someone and have a partnership that's legally recognized, that's good enough for me.
Right.
And people would say on the left, oh, that's internalized homophobia. Oh, you hate yourself. You're self-hating. I was just told by someone that you're a self-hating gay.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And I was like, no, I just separate the institution, the historical institution, from the legality. Like of course I want to be able to be with someone and have a civil union and to have afforded the, rights of a citizen as a couple, but I don't die on the hill of marriage, the word, you know what I mean?
Right.
And for people who don't think that way, who are very rigid, no, we need marriage. Like they just, they think that you had some, let me find his name.
They're like closed mind. It's like one way.
Right. And then you broke down something on your show. It was, this guy, Hassan Piker.
Yeah. When he was in the party for Mamdani when he won.
He talks a lot about this thing called false consciousness. I don't know if you've heard about this, but it's a thing from Karl Marx, who.
Oh man.
Basically, the gist of it is that, you live in a capitalist society, and there's some truth there's truth to the general idea of it, but it's kind of like psycho when you make it like wholesale the truth. The idea is that you live in a capitalist society, you're taken advantage of, you don't even realize it, you're working for the man, and you forget, like you identify with the capitalist structure, and then you forget that you're enslaved and trapped by it. You're not living in a true conscious awareness of your surroundings.
Like you're really still in the rat race.
You're like captured by it, and you're not aware of it. You're living in false consciousness. So scholars in academia in the 20th century took this idea and said, oh, that applies to feminism, to race, so if you're black and you speak, a certain way in academia, like you're speaking white, that means you're living in false consciousness. Or if you're a woman and you have if you would rather have children and stay home, you're living in false consciousness, meaning like you're spellbound by.
Oh, they call you a trad wife now. Yeah. Like what the hell?
So if you're gay and you think it's okay not to have gay marriage, you'd rather civil unions, you have a nuanced view, you're living in false consciousness because you're self-hating, and this is like the way they think, and it kind of reminds you of like a psychological disorder. Like of just thinking of everything around you as a problem all the time,
right?
And it's really something,
Yeah, it definitely is.
I spiraled down a little bit.
Why do
you had some good points.
Why do you think that tradition scares the right?
Tradition would be more
the like right or the left.
I mean the left. Yeah, sorry.
The left.
Why does it scare the left? Because it's like they want to take everything away from us when it comes to tradition. Like basically, let's say Thanksgiving. Oh, you can't have Thanksgiving because it's because the
indigenous
people. But we don't look at it like that. We look at it as in families sitting down, eating together.
Right.
As a whole family,
yeah,
but they're scared of that. And other things are like Christmas, don't celebrate Christmas because it's like they are scared of
Christopher Columbus.
Because we're all living again in false conscience. We're not aware of the injustices of the indigenous people who, by the way, killed each other like crazy.
Right.
So it's like never mind that, right? Because There's actually like, Columbus Day too is like, okay, fine, you want an Indigenous Peoples Day, but why did you put it on Columbus?
Yeah.
It's like, put it on a different day.
Right.
It's a gotcha moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's antagonistic, and that's how a lot of them operate like that. But to come down from my very opinionated, but there's some, it's, the way my opinions are shaped by a good account of history and studies and stuff like that, but it's still very strongly, asserted. But like, to answer your question about tradition, to be a little more neutral about it and less interjecting my view, it is true that the left and right is a balance of, again, openness and less, fewer parameters and things like that. And then the right is more structured around, like, again, that central system of the family unit, of the community, of the church, of the culture, and you're in like a web and of people who are familiar. And I think it's the best way to explain it is both have threat sensitivity to different things. So the right tends to have higher threat sensitivity to novelty, like to new things, because, and this gets interpreted as racism and bigotry and xenophobia. And it's not actually that true, because any culture around the world who's homogenous, or like who's in a particular community that's, very defined by its traditions, by its customs, like in Asia, like they're very, if you want to say like racist, like a lot of Asian countries, like might consider them racist because they look at people that go in there who don't look like them, like, who's this? Like, I've had so many friends who are like, they go.
Yeah, I even heard in Japan, there's certain restaurants that we can't go, that it's strictly just Japanese people. And they don't even bat an eye.
Right.
Like,
and you have to think, is this like a bug or a feature of humanity? And I think it's a feature.
No, definitely it is
a
a feature. It's
a global feature.
It's definitely a feature.
But in America, where people are privileged enough to come up with these fucking crazy theories, where it's like, oh, therefore it is racism. No, it's like any culture, any custom has a boundary around it to protect itself. And anything that comes in that's a bit deviant from the culture or the customs there's a threat sensitivity. It's like, what can this new thing do to hurt what I've got?
Right.
And for the left, their threat sensitivity is toward harming others. Like when they think, like I said earlier, it's like if you don't believe that like, I'll just use this again, it's like healthcare is a right, then it's a threat to them, because they believe that you're going to harm people inevitably. And so the left is more put off by tradition because it's so defined. Yes, and then the left itself is not actually defined. It actually thinks definitions are oppressive, are socially constructed. Definitely. Like, you can't have a traditional family without someone coming in with an academic view that's like, oh, that's patriarchal and that's misogynistic. And it's like, well, actually it's not entirely the case that that's happening. These are normal things that have happened throughout all of society. And it can get that way, but it doesn't mean it is that way just because you've got people who like tradition. But people on both ends have different moral outlooks, and they clash. It would be good if there could be some kind of mix, but I'm not actually so sure that could happen as successfully as people want. So I don't know. But
I think this is like a two-part question.
Yeah.
Why does consuming too much political or social news make people feel anxious or powerless?
Oh, that's such a good question.
Thank you.
Jeez, these are like $1 million questions. Well, I wish I had more of I guess I'll give as much as I could conjure up.
We should have sent them.
No, that's okay. It's actually really good for me. And also, I think one way of answering that would be, there's some evidence that people who get latched onto a political agenda, or like who are, I think I've done more reading into the left. Well, it's not actually. Let me backtrack. There is a correlation between, and correlation obviously doesn't mean that it's definite, like, this is the case for everyone. It's just a connection between being progressive and having higher levels of anxiety. And it's not always, it's actually not so much the case for people on the political right, because people have to understand that left and right, these are very surface level explanations for very fundamentally human, like, undercurrents. Like, people are on the left and people are on the right, not because they just wake up one day and they're like, oh, I want to be a Republican or I want to be a Democrat. Maybe that's more true because that's more like structural.
Yeah,
but
it's like trendy now.
yeah,
or something.
but conservative and liberal, progressive, like, that's more personality based,
Definitely.
more like values based. And so your question, just could you so why are people more like anxious who are involved in politics?
Like, why does consuming too much political or social news make people feel anxious or powerless?
Yeah, because I think one good answer for that, like, so everything I just said about sort of anxiety levels, so it could be that somebody's starting with already higher levels of anxiety, and then they are attracted to stuff that gives them more answers to close the gap between, like, their ambiguity and, like, like the answer that they're looking for. They're like, oh shit, like, I need to anchor myself onto something that's steady, so let me go to this news outlet. And then they go to the news outlet that confirms their biases.
Right.
The right's all bad and bigoted, or the left is all blue-haired and crazy and wants to, like, turn your children into different sexes and stuff like that. Which
this is kind of why I like you too, because you actually go with the app that I use, Ground News. Yeah, because it literally gives you left, right, middle, and it shows you the blind sides too.
Yeah,
so,
and who's posting about this.
Right.
You know, it'll tell you, like, hey, ABC, CBS are not posting nothing, and everybody else is.
That's a fact. The second part to this would be, how do you recommend people protect their mental health while staying informed?
Well, we just took a shot at tequila, and I'm sorry.
Well, yeah. Or that would.
Sorry, guys. No. Please. That was so irresponsible of me. Super irresponsible of me.
We kid.
Yeah. No, totally don't. That's not what I mean, if you do it, fine. Okay,
Right.
but, like, I'm just saying, I think it's really important to. Okay, so basically, what happens is we get looped into this reward loop of I'm anxious about something, so I'm gonna, like, seek certainty, like, to answer your last question, and I'm gonna get that answer, and then that kind of makes me feel okay for a minute, and then I need it again, and that's an addiction loop to some degree. And thoughts and beliefs and political ideas can be just as addictive as substances and anything like that. Right. It's because your reward system is always looking for that, answer to
that confirmation.
The confirmation to help you close that, window. So I would say people and this is a very kind of biological answer. I would say, in order to, whenever you're feeling the need to go for that answer, now, I'm not a therapist, and I don't want you to have a panic attack or anything like that, but, like, I think when you're most ready to go for that answer, to go to that like the news network that you're interested in, or that you get your answers from, or whatever, that uncle or person or cousin that will confirm your biases, don't. Just, like, sit with the uncertainty a little bit and let that pass. Again, I don't want anybody to be sent off into, like, a panic, but I think the problem is when you feed that impulse, you're never going to get out of that loop. Right? So
it's like a thirst you can't quench.
Yeah, exactly. You have to stop yourself when you're ready to go for that impulse, or that impulse meets you, and you have to practice that over time. You have to give yourself some it doesn't have to be all the time every day, but I would say every day you have to really give yourself the time to, like, chill and not lean into that impulse, and then, breathe a little bit and talk to somebody in person about something else and connect with nature. Like, this all sounds very typical and cliche, but it's the truth. I mean, like, we're so badgered with information, and I think the only way you can help yourself in this kind of a culture we live in is to unplug from it and to deal with those impulses in a healthy way. and your brain will then start to rewire and not desire filling that gap anymore with biases. You'll start to, maybe you'll even start to think about things differently because you've given yourself enough of a break from feeding that impulse, and you're like, oh, okay, there's something else out there to think about. Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap this up with one last question, and hopefully you can help America with this. So the question is, do you think this divide in America can really be healed? Or are we in too deep now?
Oh my God, another really good. These are, you guys have banger awesome questions. No, I really mean that. I think, I don't know. I don't know, because we've seen something like this or dynamics like this in the past, in different societies, civilizations, and it's not clear to me that they always end up well. But I think because we live in the times in which we live, we're doing this right now. There's more, contrary to what I said about getting so attached to social media or like not feeding into the impulses, there's also a better way of this is going to sound so corny, but ingesting social media, like finding maybe voices that are more like this and like challenge your biases. And, I think that it's a double-edged sword. Like, we can heal if we listen to different perspectives and learn how to deal with, again, the discomfort of being in the presence of those perspectives. You can't get violent. First of all, I would say how to heal a divide. You're one person out of how many billions of people? Chill. It's like, you're not going to fix your problem that you think you want to fix, or you think you're going to fix in a moment with someone who disagrees with you. Not going to happen. Right. So just do yourself a favor and just deal with that reality, and one person at a time being able to do that, just being like, okay, I'm not going to be able to fix this right now. You invite a different conversation maybe, or back away. One person at a time doing that, I think we can heal. More systematically, I think we are perhaps on the verge of something that's either crazy, scary, or probably good. Maybe scary because like Mamdani just won, and we've already been through that. I'm not being hyperbolic or like dramatic. I think he's not good for the city, but we'll see. Right. Or a good thing that can come from it is the Republicans now can actually take the stance of, oh, we didn't actually offer an alternative for healthcare. Let's do that now. And so they can invite, that party can start to become more open politically, policy-wise, not just like ideas, which they are now. They can actually be more open politically, policy-wise. And I think we have off-ramps like that systematically to heal and to get back to a more centered place. It's going to take these different groups to wake up to their opportunities, I think. And I don't know if that's the answer. That's my opinion. But individually, I think it starts with stopping and recognizing you're one person out of billions who can't fix it in this moment. Just chill. They're not your enemy. You're your own worst enemy if you let it spiral. And I think one person at a time, like I said before, we can actually begin to see some healing. So
I agree.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully. Well, I got one more. Yeah. It's a quick one.
Yeah.
This one's just before we go.
I know I'm not a fast answer.
No, it's beautiful. We love every answer you just give us.
You get deep in thought of it, and that's what we like.
Thank you.
So this is a beautiful closer right here. What's one mental habit you think everyone should break? That's a nice closer, right?
Yeah. It's one mental habit?
Yeah.
To believe that you can, that your thoughts about something are truth. Never don't make yourself go nuts and think that you don't know what you're thinking, or what you're, that you're gaslighting yourself or anything, but don't assume. Assumption is the worst thing. When people assume things about other people, definitely, without getting their information about the person, attributing something hostile to them, that is one of the worst habits. Like, just don't assume you know a person's condition. Don't just be more curious. So the worst habit that people should break is assumptions, and a better one is curiosity.
I like that.
Yeah.
I definitely like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was a good one. That was good. One more thing. You said that you're in Columbia University right now.
Well, I graduated in May.
In May. Oh,
So,
congratulations! So
thank
we
you.
owe you a graduation gift, right?
For
Oh.
sure. definitely.
You guys are great.
So we definitely gonna get you something. But we appreciate you coming, educating our audience, educating us as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Such a pleasure.
Would you want to add anything to our audience that you would like to say, that you would like to leave off in a note?
Also, if you
No.
want anywhere, how they could reach you.
Oh,
also.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Well, I think we covered many bases. Thank you so much for having me on. This podcast, this show is gonna. I know it's gonna. It's just.
Appreciate it.
It's
Thank you.
incredible, and
Thank you.
I'm gonna share it with everyone. And if you want to hear me go on and on and on more and more, I'm kidding.
I definitely I enjoy your lectures, though. I do.
Thanks. I try to break things down. Like I'm still working at it, but I think it's important to get to the bottom of things, and it could be a little bit long. But if you're interested in that kind of thing, or it's not only that kind of thing. I have a co-host, Clay Smith, and we work well together. We have guests on our podcast, which is Discourse Lab. You can find us on Instagram at _Discourse Lab, and we have a YouTube channel. And I'm on Instagram also, just at Anthony Rispo, and there's lots of other things on the horizon, but for now, that's where you can. I will plug one more thing. My friend started a series called Convivium New York City, and I'll, I guess, give you information to that for your listeners to tap on our first pilot episode of what that looks like. So
Definitely. I'll be tuning in for sure.
Yeah, you have like a calmness in your voice, like Lex Freeman. That it's just a calming voice that
like
you have.
Thank you.
Yeah, for real. It's like,
I really appreciate
it,
it.
and it's good because it helps you concentrate as well, like
Thank you.
into what you're saying.
I appreciate
And it doesn't sound like you're trying to force something onto someone. You could take it for face value. You get
Thank
what I'm
you.
saying?
That's a fact.
That's
and-
good. I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'll keep that in my mind for whenever I get
Sure, man.
pissed
Yo.
off at someone. No, I'm just kidding.
Yo, Anthony Rispo, man.
Yes,
we
we
appreciate
appreciate
you
it,
pulling
man.
up,
Thank
man. And you're invited. Anytime you want to come by,
Thanks, guys.
we can even go for some drinks again.
I would love to do that. Actually, that'd be amazing. That'd be
Definitely,
great.
man.
Yeah.
I'm Vic,
It's your boy T.
and we out of here, man. This was No Cap Just Fax. Like and subscribe. We already passed 200 subs on YouTube, but we're going viral on TikTok, Instagram. It's a how do you say it? It's a slow game, but
Slow
it's
burn.
it's coming. It's coming.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll be everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna have more special guests. We're gonna have a couple more relationship podcasts. So just tune in.
Yeah, definitely, man. So we're out of here. Hope y'all have a good one, and we out.
Peace.
Peace.